Just a couple updates. First of all, Anthony Sarro is going to be out the remainder of spring with his foot injury. Just wanted to give you guys an update on that. Second one, I probably should have brought this up earlier. Charles Burks is graduated and has decided to transfer to go play his senior season somewhere else. That's why we haven't seen him. And I don't have an update on Bryce Dixon for those of you that want to ask me that question. So as far as practice, I thought the defense came out with really good energy from the start and then finished with great energy. You know, I mean, I thought they really played well. I thought John Plattenberg has been a guy I should have probably mentioned after day one, just his maturity and his body changing. It showed again today. Made a heck of a play on the last play to knock the ball loose to win the period, three plays to 2, which was a great win for the defense, really by him. So from an offensive standpoint, you kind of tell 2 days of installation, a little too slow for our liking. You know, I mean, we're still kind of, you know, we got a lot of people kind of doing some new things, and it's taking a minute just getting lined up. We need to improve upon our efficiency that way here, get into Saturday and into next week. Obviously, we saw Dory on offense today. Had some moments where he's really making some plays. Had some other moments maybe we didn't get him the ball we would have liked. But all in all, you know, we had a day on offense and then the day on defense on Tuesday. He'll be back on defense this weekend. Outside of that, 2 really good competitive, kind of hard-fought practices, even though we're only in helmets. I thought the guys are really flying around. It's been intense. We'll get to put shoulder pads on for Saturday, and should be a good day.
What, if anything, do you know about Sarro's foot injury?
Well, he's going to be out spring. It's going to take probably a good 6 to 8 weeks. There's a small crack in his foot that we just want to make sure heals properly and gets healed. You know, he probably could play. I know he could play, but we want to make sure that that thing heals and heals properly so that when August rolls around, he's just 100% and we're not dealing with the thing.
Whatever happened with Chris Wilson? Was he a possibility to come back?
Well, he potentially. First of all, he has to apply for a 6th year, and he hasn't. That's the first hurdle. The second hurdle is, okay, you get granted a 6th year, then what do? Do you decide to stay here and play here? Do you decide he's graduated, he has an opportunity to go play somewhere else? He has to make that decision. So, but the first hurdle is getting granted a 6th year first.
And he hasn't done that yet?
He's applied, we haven't heard.
You haven't heard.
Yeah.
So there would be a chance?
There's a potential of that, yes.
Okay.
With Bryce's situation kind of being up in the air, what do you make of the tight end position overall?
Well, it's very thin, needless to say. You know, we're operating with 2 guys right now, with Jalen and Connor. You know, obviously with Tyler coming in the fall is very helpful. And then, as I touched on signing day, we've got a couple guys that have plenty of versatility. Porter Gustin, Osa Messina, that could help us there as well. So, and Christian Rector is another one. So, you know, we have some possibilities there as well. But as present state, it's not great. You know, when you only have 2 tight ends in a system that relies on essentially playing with a tight end just about on every snap, it can be challenging for us, which we ran into a little bit of that today. You know, when I talk about the tempo, we went to some more 4 wide sets to give those guys a breather. In turn, we had some communication issues with substitutions, and if the guys didn't know if they were on or off the field, so we need to clean that up.
Is there potential he might go to more?
I'm going to get to both of you, I promise. Go for it. Go for it. You don't have to race to the question. I'll get you. Go for it.
Okay. Is Tyler a kid that can come in and help out?
No doubt. No doubt.
Is there potential more 4 wide, wide outs?
Well, that's what we got to look. That's what we got to look at, Dan. I mean, I think that's why the versatility of Adoree, Stephen Mitchell, Ajane, what they can give us. Juju, quite honestly, his understanding of the offense. A lot of it's going to depend on the development of Isaac, of a Daquan Hampton when he gets here. Obviously, we know what Darius can do on the perimeter. So there's plenty of question marks that way. And again, we're day 2 into this thing. We're still just in helmets. Have to see how all of that affects our run game. We know the threat it can give us in the passing game, getting all that speed on the field. But we don't want to lose our run game. That's important to us with the tight end on the field. So we'll see. I had to do this one year at Washington where, for a variety of reasons, we went this way, and we went with more of a 3 wide receiver 2-back set with the second back being a fullback that was really versatile. We're fortunate to have Soma and Jaleel that could potentially do that as well. So again, we're just in the beginning stages of figuring out the personality of this team and getting an idea of who we are and what we can be. We have to look at all those possibilities, because even with all those guys, there's no telling. Week 1, we get 2 injuries, and we're forced into that situation. So we have to start preparing for it now.
Will you look at Juju at all on defense during the spring, or is
no?
And what kind of went into that decision? I know initially when they came in, you said, you might look at him.
He's just so good offensively, and then, with the departure of Nelson and George, he's really our, even though he's only in his second year, he's our most veteran guy, with experience and playmaking ability, and we just can't afford not to have him as well offensively. We have to make sure that Cody's got enough of a comfort level of guys around him that have played quality football at a high level, and Juju gives us that.
What's the plan for Adoree as it relates to track and spring practice balance?
He's going to practice spring practice. The outdoor season's going to come upon them here in a few weeks. Working towards it, but it goes so long. Coach Carol Gilbert and I have really been in good communication with that. I want Adoree, when he goes to track, to perform at a high level. I know he's disappointed with the results of the indoor season, and we expect him to go out and have a great outdoor season. But we'll manage him. When he's out here in football, he's not going to run every day like he did today. We're going to work on specific things, but he will be at practice.
Are you going to alternate him on offense and defense like you did this week for the rest of spring?
At least for the next week and a half, for the next 4 practices to get us through the first 2 weeks of spring. I want to give him 3 on defense, 3 on offense to really get his comfort level on both sides, focusing on some of the details that maybe he wasn't able to get as the season went on. So we're able to do that in spring, and that's what spring's for, quite honestly.
Do you envision him having a bigger role on offense next year than he had this past year?
It's really early, Mike. I mean, it's so early in this thing. We've got some good guys coming in the fall. That's going to, what they can do. He is very dynamic, as we all know. When he has the ball in his hands, he's got a really high football IQ. He can play a lot of different spots. But I don't want to sacrifice our defense either. So there's a fine line there. We've been going through it as a staff of just, how much of a threshold can we really put on him, what he can handle physically, mentally. So we're just, like I said, we're in the very beginning stages of it all. I'd love to get number 2 the ball. I mean, he's cheesy. Every time he has it, we all kind of hold his breath. He might score. So, there is a fine line of how much we push him, and it's not always so much game day. It's the preparation for game day. And so, like I said, right now we're just trying to get fundamentals, techniques really sound, so that when we come back to fall camp, he has a foundation that he can keep building on.
Let's do one last one. Felix made an impression on you first couple days, and then also.
Yeah, I mean, the line of scrimmage stuff, I'm kind of a lot more patient to make pass judgment on when we're just in helmets. That's pretty difficult to gauge those guys. As we move through, as we get shoulder pads on, and as we get into some full pad stuff, I'd probably get a better assessment of the way they're playing. But Scott I've noticed them, but again, I don't put a whole lot into it, because, like I said, we're in helmets right now.
Thanks, sir.